Suffering is no stranger to the streets of Portland's Old Town neighborhood, an area of downtown where much of the city's social services are based.
You see a lot of people around here struggling, nowhere to go, homeless, cold, hungry.
A fresh coat of paint marks the neighborhood's newest addition.
So this will be the recovery program.
This red office building on the corner of Northwest 4th Avenue and Davis Street will soon be recovery housing and emergency shelter run by CityTeam, a faith-based nonprofit, to help those right outside its doors.
Great if I could get a spot.
I've been an addict for as far as back as I can remember.
If we were able to get in there and successfully, I think us getting clean, it would change my life tremendously. We'd be able to have our kids, and I imagine be able to live like a normal person.
Then the third floor will be longer-term recovery housing.
Those at CityTeam are hoping to open it by September 1st. But it's not cheap, so they applied for 2 grants from Multnomah County's Joint Office of Homeless Services. A CityTeam asked for about $500,000 both times. They were denied each time. They were also denied a 3rd grant specifically for recovery housing.
Honestly, yes, there was a little part of me that was baffled by that. At the end of the day, though, I think that it's a good thing because we're not tied to any public money at all right now. As being a private funded organization, we have the freedom to run our programs the way that we do, and they're really successful.
A spokesperson for the Joint Office tells KGW CityTeam's applications did not score as high as other applicants. It came down to a lack of programming efforts to address racial disparities or connect shelter guests to other community resources. There were also concerns with the project timeline and that the emergency shelter beds are only for men. In total, 31 organizations applied for the county's grant money. 10 were selected. The county has yet to announce who they are or how much money was given out. Here's Dan Field, the head of the Joint Office of Homeless Services.
It just means that at this point in time, their model wasn't the right fit for the way that we were looking to expand our system.
When the headlines were, there's all this money that the county can't spend and they're sitting on it, I thought, seems like this would be a good fit for us.
It turns out that narrative is no longer true.
The days of underspending at the Joint Office are 2 years behind us. We are not only spending every dollar that we're getting from the SHS tax, we're spending more than we're getting, and we're playing some catch up. So all the dollars we have are spoken for. We are constantly in dialogue with all the providers in our community, even those we don't fund. We're always looking for ways to draw additional resources to the urgent crisis we have on our streets.
So this whole thing about the county not having enough money is relatively new to many people. You may remember there was a time not too long ago when Multnomah County was sitting on millions of taxpayer dollars to the tune of $100 million meant for homeless services. And it took them a while to figure out how to spend it. Part of that money came from over-collected supportive housing services tax dollars, also known as the SHS tax. That's the voter-approved tax meant to help address the homeless crisis. But according to Dan Field, the county has spent all the money they were previously sitting on. In fact, they are now overspending, which is in part why so few organizations are being awarded this grant money. Now, speaking of that SHS tax, earlier this month, the president of Metro Council, Lynn Peterson, proposed some changes to that program just 4 years after it was implemented. Metro is responsible for collecting and distributing the tax money to Multnomah, Washington, and Clackamas counties. About 2 weeks ago, we had President Peterson here live on the show explaining her proposal. If you missed it, you can catch that episode on our YouTube page. But her proposal includes creating a committee to oversee how the money is spent and putting more of the money toward affordable housing, while at the same time reducing the tax rate. Peterson wanted to see those potential changes on the May ballot for voters to weigh in. But her proposal was met with a lot of criticism from county leaders. They argue the changes would spread funds too thin and hurt the progress that's already being made. So late last week, Metro Council pushed the ballot measure to November instead. There will still need to be a majority vote from Metro Council to get it on the ballot. Here's what Dan Field has to say about that latest move.
Yeah, I'm not sure Metro would agree, but from the county's perspective and the perspective of the people doing the work on the front lines, that's a good thing. The counties are on track. We're investing the money wisely. We're building the infrastructure to serve people and to move them off the streets. And I think right now a change in direction that Metro is proposing would be a bad idea. And I'm really heartened that Metro leadership was able to recognize that and press the pause button.
Now, I also asked Dan Field about what he thought about Portland Mayor Keith Wilson's new plan to end unsheltered homelessness by December 1st. Gosh, just saying that seems like such a lofty, if not impossible goal. But it's what Mayor Wilson ran on during much of his campaign. And for the first time last week, he outlined his plan to the new city council. It includes adding 1,500 emergency overnight shelter beds, ending homeless camp sweeps that only push people from street to street, and opening day centers in each district, among other things, all with a price tag of $28 million.
I think the mayor has a really compelling vision. Like city council, I think we have a lot of questions, and he seems very open to sort of parsing through those with us. So in really quick order, we've got to figure out how do we pay for his plan? I think that's a critical question. We're all sort of wondering. We're going to be around a table, pencils sharpened, sleeves rolled up, trying to solve that challenge of funding. I think we also have to make sure that the model he's proposing of overnight shelters still allows us to put people on a path to housing.
All right, so what do you make of all these funding issues? Are you surprised that the county denied CityTeam the money it asked for? What about the county now overspending taxpayer dollars on homeless services? Let us know your thoughts. Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.